Hey guys, I'm back. I hope everybody is having a great Memorial Day weekend, enjoying some time off. But let's all take a minute to sort of reflect and remember what this holiday is all about. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I'd appreciate it if you all take a minute just to remember what this holiday is about. Have a good time, but reflect on those who have given their lives and made the ultimate sacrifice for our country and our freedoms. Anyway, I'm just doing this quick video because I've got the first of the giveaway knives almost done. You can kind of see the blades a little different there. I really wanted to get a video up. I'm not ready. I don't have it done yet, and you watch the video, you'll understand why. I have what I think is a really good treatment on the blade, and I'm going to get working on the scales really soon. I'm already kind of working on them. But anyway, one of the things the subs have asked for is more kind of in progress, sort of step-by-step or how-to videos. So here's a video on how I did the blade treatment for this knife. One of my favorite finishes, and then I did some acid washing to it also, and then at the end you'll find out why the scales are not totally finished and kind of what the update on that is. So I hope you guys like watching this happen. It's a late night video, just a lot of stuff I had to get done, and now I'm just sort of relaxing, killing time. You might hear a little Farscape on in the background. It's time for some old school sci-fi. I also apologize if this entire video is upside down right now. I had to do the camera positioning in a weird way because of the way the light is in the room, but whatever. What I plan on doing for this one right now is strip the whole thing down, take the whole thing apart, clean everything really well. I'm going to take these thumb studs off. What I want to do with this initially is I want to give the blade a finish very similar to this that I did on this fake but not fake Strider, if you remember. So I want it to look very similar to that. But then I'm going to acid wash the entire blade. So it should have that cool kind of texture on it, right? But instead of being all shiny, it should have that nice acid wash look on it, which will be really cool. So here is the wannabe Rift all disassembled. In order to start doing this, I haven't used a Dremel in a really long time, but I'm going to use the Dremel with just a 120 grit sanding drum. And I'm just going to get to work on this, putting those little grooves. I'm going to go down the swedge here and across the flat. I already put the initial few grinds in there, and then I realized I just said I was going to do this sort of like in progress. So I moved everything over. I know the light's not great again, but I'm going to show you kind of how I do this, and it's pretty much a random pattern. One thing to consider is, though, whenever you're grinding on metal that's already been heat treated, you don't want to ruin that heat treat. So I have a cup of water just so that every once in a while I'm just going to dip the blade into the water to cool it down so it doesn't get too hot, and then paper towels just to dry it off again. I'm going to hold it by hand for just for the purposes of holding it still for the video clip here, but normally what I would do is I would hook something in there. Maybe just use a little multi-tool pliers or something like that just to hold it, because it does get a little bit hot. But for right now, I'll just hold it by hand. So as you go, and that's that little extra pit right there, that's fine, because then we're going to do the whole flat side. You want to vary the angle up in both like the Y and X, for lack of a better word, axis. So you want to move the blade around a little bit to make sure that you're getting kind of that nice varied depth as you're going there. And then also you want to move the angle around so that the pattern is not just stripes down the blade. You want it to look very kind of random. As I was going, you can see I got onto the flat part of the blade right there, and that's cool. If you make a mistake like that, all you got to do is carry that pattern over a little bit and make it just look like a jagged transition. It'll look really nice. And now it just doesn't look like one isolated little oops. It looks like part of the pattern that you're putting in there. So I haven't decided if we're going to go down the front of the blade yet, but we're going to do the flat areas here. Things to consider. You don't want to do any grinding around where your washers are going to sit, because you want that to be nice and smooth and even. And you want to be careful around the area where the thumb stud is going to go, because you want to make sure that when it's done, it fits nice and flat and flush there. So just things to be careful for. Blade's starting to get just a little bit warm, so I'm going to give it a dip. This is also going to help you clean some of that metal shaving dust off. I should probably be wearing gloves and stuff right now, but I just didn't think of it at the time. So it's coming out really nice, and particularly I like the randomness of it. So what I want to do is kind of randomize the transition to the blade a little bit more over there. It's coming out really nice all along here though, and I think once I do the acid wash, it's going to tone this whole look down. I really like the shiny kind of faceted look, but I really think the acid wash is going to look good when it's all done. So I'm done with this side. I think I will go down the front, and then I'll really be done with this side. But the important part is I managed to leave all that nice and smooth, so we've got no problems. And you can see there's really no part, once we put this pivot bolt in, there's no part of this blade that is going to look unfinished, even as it rotates closed. It's all going to look pretty damn good. So I'm all done. So I've done both sides, looking pretty good. Right. I did the spine all the way down. One thing you want to be really careful of is the tip right there. You don't want to mess up the tip of your knife when you're doing this, and it's very easy to do if you're not careful. Another thing that I should have said is when you're grinding, if you find that the sanding drum is just skipping along, it's probably because you're pushing too much pressure down on it. Just lay it down right there, and just let it do its grinding. You don't need to push it into the metal or anything. It's going to do it on its own, and you get better results. If you just let it sit and grind without trying to push it, it'll hold a little bit more stable. Before we actually put in the acid, we want to protect all the parts that we don't want etched. So basically, your edge, you don't want that etched. The area around your washers, you don't want that etched. You want that to stay exactly as it is. I found this hard to believe when I first started doing this, but the best way to protect all that is just plain old enamel nail polish. The acid does not like to eat through it. So you just grab some of your significant other's nail polish, especially while they're not around to stop you. But what you want to do is just put it on all those surfaces that you don't want etched. A lot of nail polishes come with this big, thick, kind of fat brush. I am going to use a smaller brush just so I can get some kind of detail-like work done and not get it in places where I don't want it. So I'm just going to start with the tip right there. Thing is, you want a pretty heavy coat on there. You don't want to risk that it's not going to be covered and that the acid's going to get at that area. So using nail polish like this is also a really great way. If you want to put a design on there, you can paint your design right on the metal in the nail polish, and that will not be etched like the rest. So it'll retain its kind of satin finish while the rest gets that acidy finish. Things that you also want to consider, the inside of your pivot area. You don't want that to get etched because then your pivot won't fit exactly right. So you want to make sure you really coat that very well with your nail polish all around the inside. Because of the way the axis lock on this works, we need the surfaces all along here to be coated so that we don't get any etching over there. Otherwise the axis will not flow smoothly. And I'm going to put some up there because that's the surface that comes into contact with the stop pin when it opens up. We want that to fit perfect. We don't want any blade play at all because of etching. Taking the nail polish off later is pretty easy. I just use acetone or nail polish remover once it's all done, and it comes off pretty readily. Alright, so our process is done here. Also, don't forget that the hole where your thumb studs go, you want to put some nail polish in there too. You don't want to change the diameter of that. But we've got everything coated that we need coated, and I have cleaned up to make sure everything's nice and even and ready to go for the acid wash. I'm going to leave the Ganzo on there. It'll be very, very faint when it's all done, so it won't look like a real Benchmade at all. It'll still be identifiable as a Ganzo, but it'll eat most of that off when it's done. But this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited. Here's what I use for the acid wash itself. It's pretty simple stuff. It's PCB etchant from Radio Shack. Yeah, some of them still exist. Basically, it's ferric chloride. So not super strong, it takes a while, but it also won't eat right through all the metal. It gives you plenty of time to work with it and figure out exactly how etched you want it. Usually a blade like this I'll leave in 30 to 60 minutes and that'll give me a really, really nice finish. But the cool thing is you just, you take it out, you check it out, you see how it's doing, and you can put it in for longer. So I'm going to transfer it from this into an old pickle jar. You want to put it in glass. I'm going to use an old wire hanger to make a hook to hang this, make sure it's totally submerged down in the acid, and easy to draw up for me to check from time to time. So this is the very simple home setup I'm using. It's a jar. I lied, it's not pickles, it's taco sauce. But wire hanger holding the blade in there. And this is coming along very nicely. I'm going to put it back in. I'll leave it in there for half an hour. And then I'm going to check it out. Important things, you don't want the blade to hit the bottom of the jar and you don't want it touching the walls, so you want to set this up so it just sort of hangs in there nicely. Alright, so all finished. Took it out of the acid. I just rubbed it down with some 600 grit sandpaper to really bring out the details there. I really like it because it's not an exact two-tone finish, but you can see it's got highlights. It's got the pattern in there. I think I am going to polish up just the flats and see how it comes out. Alright, personally, I think that's a great finish. You can see it looks very worn. We still have the Ganzo trademark on the blade, but I really love the way that the upper came out. The grooves cut into the flat part there, I really love it. The spine, just, it all catches the light really, really well. I really like this. I hope that whoever gets this knife appreciates it as much as I do. I gotta strip the nail polish off though so we can get the edge ready to go and get it all kind of reassembled in the body for now until we're ready to redo the whole thing. So we've got all traces of the nail polish is gone. All right, nice clean lines there. The edge itself is still razor sharp. It is perfect, just as it was before. So we protected that really, really well all the way down. The point is still there. It looks off a little bit, but trust me, it's still there. And we have this beautiful finish on the blade, this very well-worn kind of antique look to it. Doesn't look very different when it's closed. You can definitely see the changes on the blade there though, but I think it's a beautiful finish and I really, really like it. You have that sort of worn flat on the blade. It feels really smooth too. You should, I mean, I know you can't feel it, but it just feels really smooth. And then the upper over there just came out exactly as I wanted it. I mean, that's great. And this isn't oiled yet or anything, but it's still very smooth. So I'm thinking carbon fiber and something else. Two-part handle, bolster, and then, you know, scale. I'm not sure what we're going to do exactly. Here's what the finished blade work looks like in daylight. It's kind of a nice, cloudy, but still bright Sunday afternoon. So you can get a really good look of what this thing looks like with no glare from the sun or anything on it. Huge fan of how this turned out. Very, very happy. I love it to death. So I hope you guys do too. You can just barely make out the Ganzo under there, so there's no passing it off for a real Benchmade, but the blade looks very unique. I have a lot of ideas for what I want to do with the scales and the backspacer. The problem is it's been so long since I've done custom work and stuff. I just don't have the supplies like I used to, so I made a pretty big order from a couple different places. And that stuff's going to arrive this week, and I'll get it all finished, and then we'll do the actual giveaway. I have a couple scales left of the Jade Green. And I'm calling this Jade Ghost Green because I think I might have tracked down an actual jade green that looks like swimming pool green. If you're familiar with Wilkins knives, we'll have to see when it gets here. But so we'll call it Jade Ghost Green. The coarse texture, it's a peel and ply type G10. I wish I could find more of these. I just don't know where they are. I know I'm definitely going to use some of the Fly Eye carbon fiber for bolster areas on this. It's amazing material. It's made by Composite Craft. They're the guys that make c-tek and some other really cool stuff. And I love the look of it. It's really cool. So it's basically a regular carbon fiber weave, and then on the front side it's got these glass bubbles. They're not glass though, like I don't know how to describe them. It's very unique. It's really cool. I'm just not sure what I want to finish it off with. So here's a clean piece of LS2 lightning strike carbon fiber. This one happens to have a green coloring stripe down the middle of it, but not all of them have colors. I might order some more of that. I didn't order any of this, but I ordered a whole ton of carbon fiber and G10s and different things. And then here's some simple 1x1 pattern carbon fiber. This one has some scrapes on the bottom of it, but you know, those would be buffed out anyway. And the sun is just coming out, which actually helps us show off the carbon fiber pattern really nicely. So I think it's going to take one more week before this one is finished. Now we can really see that Fly Eye in the sun, the way it's just such a unique look. I love it to death. Not sure exactly what we're gonna do, how we're gonna finish it off. We could go with the Jade and the Fly Eye, which I think would look really nice. We could do the LS2 pattern and the Fly Eye, take a lot of, because of this thickness difference, take a lot of grinding to make that even. That might be a lot of work. I probably won't be doing that. But we've got the standard carbon fiber weave that we could throw in there, the 1x1, and finish it off that way. In any case, I'm going to use this jade liner material. That's going to be the basis of both of these. So they're both going to be mounted on this, which is going to give me one complete piece, and then that's going to be mounted on there. So anyway, I just wanted to get a video up there and show you guys how this is coming along. And hopefully by next weekend, I'll have the first giveaway knife done, and we'll announce who's going to get it.